In this episode, we're taking a look at Notyf, a tiny and flexible notification library that you can use with your JavaScript projects. Looks pretty awesome, so let's get ready to apply. So this library has a lot of pretty cool features. Number one, it's A11Y compatible, which means that it has been built with accessibility in mind. It doesn't require any dependencies like jQuery, so it's easily added to projects in vanilla JavaScript, and it also works with Vue.js, Angular, and also React. It's only 3 kilobytes, so it's tiny enough to include in any one of your projects. The API is pretty easy to use and extensible, so it does have a nice look and feel, but you can add your own icons or classes to the notification. So first, let's take a look at what you can do with this thing. And here is the interface when you go to the website. I'll make sure that I add the notes at the bottom. So if you want to take a look at what it does, you can hit this little fire button, and you see the notification is up here right now. It stays there for a couple of seconds, but you can change the duration to be whatever you want. And there's different special effects, so you can turn off. Actually, there's only one special effect. There's this ripple special effect that you can turn off. And it's sort of like a little circle that you see animating. And you can also add a little button to dismiss the item. So let's take a look at how that works with code. So to do that, let me switch things out a little bit here. I'll go to this layout, and I'll just show you a different part of my screen. So here I have some basic HTML code, and over here, I am importing the 5.0 alpha version of Bootstrap here, but only the CSS just to make the page look nice, and also to show you that this is going to work well with whatever sort of library you already have. And if I take a look at, actually, I need to be on this view right here. So that's going to show you the code. So I am bringing in the Bootstrap 5 right here, the code. And then I am also importing some icons. So if you remember from a previous episode, I'm enjoying this library called css.gg. That's pretty awesome. So I've imported that here because you can't customize this with your own icons. And then you have to import some minimal CSS by bringing in a link. Now at the bottom of this page, you'll notice I have a headline here and a container, a bunch of paragraphs. And then at the bottom, you'll notice that I am not importing the Bootstrap JavaScript, just to show you that you don't really need the Bootstrap JavaScript. Let's go ahead and put me at the bottom of the screen here. So all I'm importing is the library itself. There are CDNs available, but you can also do npm installs if that's what you need. So if I want to bring in a notification here, what I need to do is just add a script tag. And in this script tag, I'm going to create an object for my notification. So we should probably just do let. And then we will type in Notyf equals new, and then we create a Notyf object. Now, in this object, we can pass a lot of different parameters. But if you just want to use it as is with the defaults, we can just type in the name of the object, and then we'll just say success. So there are 2 types of notifications that come by default, the success notification as well as the error. And then in here, you can type in a message. And when we save that, you can see that the notification appears here at the bottom with the defaults turned on. So if you want to see that again, just refresh, and you can see it down here at the bottom right-hand side of the screen. This is the simplest way of using it. And as I mentioned, there is an error version that just shows the same thing in red, and it has that little X on it. So let's go back to success and show that. So in this Notyf, you can include a configuration object, And in here, you really get to sort of modify how your notifications look. So for example, you can set the duration, and this is going to be a millisecond. So let's do 10,000 just to leave it on the screen for a long time. And now that will stay on the screen for 10 seconds. And then eventually it will go away. If you want it to always stay on the screen, then you can set it to 0. And that way it'll just stay and not disappear. Really good for debugging. You probably don't want to leave the notification there all the time. Also, I can put in multiple versions of this, or I can create different objects and create different notifications. And if I didn't have the duration, they would actually just disappear after 2 seconds. I think they will all go away. Or I could change the timing for each one of those. So let's go back. We'll set the duration to 0. You can also use another object item here called dismissible. You can set that to true. And the difference is now we have this little X box right here. So if you are setting the duration to 0, then you should make it dismissible. And I always want to misspell that. So sometimes I want I want to put an A on that. You can turn off the ripple effect if you want to. So you can say ripple false, and it just looks slightly different. So let's turn that off. There you go. And it just slides into view, kind of fades in. It still looks pretty nice. I don't know that you need the ripple effect, but it does look sort of cool, I think, by default. You can also position it. You may not want the notification to always be there at the bottom. So you can include a position parameter here. And in here, you include an object with an X position, which can be one of left, center, or right. So if we say X center, it's going to position that to the center. The default is the bottom right-hand corner. So we can put in here left. And then we can include another element here for the Y position. And let's do center here. So left center. So now it's at the left center. It uses Flexbox to position these. So it's fairly easy to work with. We can say top. Oops, I'm sorry, that's the X. It's another weird thing that I tend to think of the first parameter always as being top. And so sometimes I want to say top here, but what I really need to do is say right. And then here is where I put in top. So let's try that. Now it appears at the top right-hand side and still dismissible. The duration is 0, so I do have to dismiss it. There's also a way of creating a custom type, so completely extendable. So this is pretty cool. You can say types, and in here you create an array because you can include many types. So for different custom notifications that you want to create. And then in here you would create an object for each of the types. So you would say type, and we'll call this one home. Then we will give this, you can give it a background color if you want to. So let's see, we'll do a hexadecimal color here, D33, 682. Oops, I think I did something weird there. D33, 682. And then we can also include an icon. And in this icon, if we want to, so I'm using css.gg. So make sure you take a look at that video if you want to see how that works. But essentially, normally when you create an icon, you would be creating a tag in your HTML, usually an I tag, and then including a class name. And then you would be specifying which icon, usually with a class. So this library lets you completely do that by putting it in the code here. So we can say icon, and then we specify our icon is going to have a class name of GG home. And since I'm using Bootstrap, I'm going to use text white. And if you remember from my lesson on css.gg, I need to include an inline block display class here. And also, we need to say that the tag that I want to use, so you can use any tag, but the normal tag to use for css.gg is the I, or the icon tag. And so let's go ahead and save that. What that does is just create the custom, type that we're creating, but we still have to call that up, and we do that a little bit differently. So Notyf success here, and in here we will do a Notyf open. So this is a slightly similar command to the one that we did before, but instead of success, we're just saying open a custom sort of item, and then do type. I'm getting tired here. Type, we'll say home. So we called it. And then we can include a message here. Home. And we'll save that. And it looks like, I don't know if I'm getting an error here. Let's see. It looks like I have some sort of error. So, of course, let's see what we have possibly done wrong here. So let's see. I have the object, the type home, background, all that stuff. Actually, let me check the comments and see if there's anybody online. There's probably people telling me, oh, line 62. Oh, this is fantastic. Look at this. This is the web for you. Line 62 error. You use equal instead of yet. Classic me. So 62. Oh, yeah, it looks like I forgot to use a colon there. So now, there you go. Thank you so much, Mohammed. And now you get this other notification. So there's a lot of potential for where I would use this. And as I mentioned, I'd love to see how it worked with Vue.js or React, but I imagine it's pretty much just going to be an import. But it's so tiny that it doesn't feel like very obtrusive to include it with your projects. So that's all I have for you today. Sorry for the little mistakes. Thank you so much, Mohammed, for the assist. And we'll talk to you again some other time in this thing that I'm calling apply. Come.